Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my 2 informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And I've got Nova in here with me. Come here, buddy. Come on, you want to say hi to the people on camera? Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on up here. There you go. There he is. Say hi to the camera. Nova's doing very, very good. Thank you for everyone who's been asking and kind of keeps up with him on Instagram. But, you know, everyone wants to know about Enhanced Athlete. What are my thoughts about it? And for those who aren't aware, Enhanced Athlete's YouTube channel has been terminated. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. You know, this Nova's a little excited. He's barking about all of that. Man, yeah, it's kind of a big deal that he just broke 100,000 subscribers, which is considered to be YouTube's biggest benchmark. That puts you into a special category with them as far as communication with YouTube and everything else. And he's been terminated. Now, here's what I'm going to say about a lot of this that people need to remember. Number one, not every channel that gets terminated is it permanent. Sometimes it's a 2-week deletion. A lot of them get overturned. I mean, we've seen multiple people this has happened to. Durian Riders lost his channel for a couple of weeks. No, well, you got to quit barking, buddy. Hey, quit barking. Okay, his channel was terminated for a couple weeks. Hickok 45 has been terminated before. That's a channel I like and follow. It's a firearm channel. You know, this does happen, and then they're reinstated. Many of them are not reinstated. So we don't know what's going on there. We don't know. And I've heard a lot of people say, hey, maybe it's because he's promoting SARMs and selling SARMs and other stuff off of his channel. You know what? That's very possible. He is probably the biggest YouTube channel doing that. But there are also several other channels that do that purely. They're running YouTube channels purely to sell and discuss their products, who are selling research chemicals. And they all still seem to be up. So if some of those start disappearing in the next few weeks, I think we'll have our answer. And I'll get into some other theories in that in a minute. But, you know, people need to remember, YouTube is pretty strict on certain policies, and they seem to just come down arbitrarily with them. It's one of the things I've noticed. It's like I've had a lot of channels that, you know, technically hate channels that hated me, that YouTube removed some of them and didn't remove others, really, that are technically in violation of the rules of YouTube. And that's what people need to understand. There's a lot of times people get away with the skirting the rules a long time. And when I personally see a change in policy, I have been known to delete videos. In fact, I went through, just because of the way they're changing policy, because I got a strike a while back on my politics and firearm channel. I got a strike on there, and I noticed they have a change in policy, and I went ahead and went through and deleted about 15 videos that I was concerned might be questionable under their policy. You know, and that's the thing that you've got to remember. When you're a YouTuber and you do this, you need to keep up with what YouTube does with their policies. You need to keep up with what they're giving strikes out for. And if they give you a strike for something and you realize that you've got 5, 6 other videos that might fall under that area, there's a certain point where you got to say, okay, I need to go ahead and get rid of these videos. Because now you'll be fine. You can get several strikes a year. And as long as they're spaced out far enough, they won't actually terminate your channel. But it's that repeat offender too close together. And so, yeah, at a certain point, you've got a responsibility as a creator to keep up with that. And people can say whatever they want about free speech, and I'm sitting here as someone who, you know, they could do this to me eventually. But I also understand that free speech is not what people out there think it is. Free speech is not the ability of you to do and say anything you want without consequence. Free speech is the right for you to do and say what you want without the government, within reason, without the government imprisoning you for it, the government censoring you for it, or a person being able to use violence against you for it. In other words, it's a violation of your free speech if someone doesn't like what you say on YouTube and then they give you death threats or they show up and attempt to harm you for it. All right, they have technically violated your constitutional rights at that point. If the government, without you breaking any laws, comes and arrests you for what you say on YouTube, okay, that would be a violation of free speech. YouTube terminating you, they're a private company. They have a right to terminate you based upon their rules and criteria. That's not considered a violation of free speech. Someone blocking you on their page from using their page to say whatever you want, it's not a violation of your free speech. You still have the right to say it, you just don't have a right to say it on their platform. Just like you don't have a right to come into someone's home and say anything that you want, where I happen to live. they can tell you to leave. And if you don't leave, you're now trespassing. And when you're trespassing and you don't leave, you get a gun drawn on you legally. They were going to get all the quotes. We were going to say, oh, Texas law. He's invoking Texas law. Which I'm not. I'm just telling you guys how it is. But the point is, you could still go down the street and say the exact same thing. Now, your free speech isn't violated. You're not being physically harmed purely for saying what you're saying. You might be harmed for trespassing at that point. And you're not being in prison for it. Therefore, your free speech hasn't been violated. It's protection against government and protection against violence. That's it. And that's the ironic part, is that how many people scream about free speech but then think that they've got a right to threaten someone because of what they said on the internet. That actually you're violating their free speech when you attempt to use violence to stop them from saying what you don't like. That's actually violating free speech. So that is what it is. But you have a right to say what you want, but you also are going to have a responsibility to make sure that you keep your own YouTube account, which means you've got to follow their rules. You have to follow their rules, and yes, their rules change from time to time. It sucks, but we accept that as YouTube creators. We have to accept that. At the very least, we may not like those rules, but most of us who are doing this make a lot better money than people think we do. People lie about how much they make on YouTube. I know a lot of people who make a lot more than they pretend to. People's usually, I promise you, your estimates of what you think any YouTuber is, you're probably less than half of what they earn. If you think that they make $1,000 a month, I bet you they make more than $2,000, guaranteed. Just keep that in perspective. We all have a lot of financial opportunities as a result of doing this. It's actually a blessing in a lot of ways, but we have to deal with sometimes some harsh rules and sometimes some arbitrarily enforced rules to do so. That's the price we pay for having this business opportunity to both make our money, help our audiences, do something that we love that helps other people or informs or entertains other people in some way, and make a good living doing it. That's kind of the price we pay. We're still dealing with a private company. So there's all of that. Now, as far as does anyone really know for sure? No, none of us know why he was banned. No one knows. YouTube knows. Maybe he knows. He might not even know. Now, because of the fact is, though, he's been unabashedly open about the fact that he uses and endorses various illegal and research chemicals, which, again, you notice some of the channels who discuss this, they don't discuss themselves or you using that you should take these products they carry. These are research chemicals. They say that they're for your research and your spider, monkey, fish, frog. And you guys who watch all the SARM channels know the reference there. You know a guy says that. Because I have caught up to speed on some of those. I've watched quite a bit of stuff that people are putting out. But that's what they do. All right. And the fact of the matter is, the DNP might have been what got him. As I promise you, there's been pressure on that because of the British government. When I lived in the UK, something like 6 people a year were dying due to DNP. All right. That's a statistic in that country. There's a big British audience here. He's also selling DNP into the UK. The fact that it was possibly available through some of his links and websites, that very well could be the reason they shut him down. Promotion and distribution of harmful substances of questionable legal nature. You know what? That could have been it right there. Because it's one thing to say, I don't promote this for human use. It's another thing to say, here, I'm selling it, I use it, here's the amount I use. Oh, here's my link to buy it at. That could have been a problem for him. I don't know. There's also the whole situation he had with the FDA hitting his place. The FDA might have contacted YouTube and said, hey, look, we just raided this guy's place, but he is using his YouTube channel. He is using his YouTube channel to distribute these substances. And, when the FDA or some big federal agency reports that to YouTube, I promise you YouTube's going to look into it a hell of a lot faster than you guys making all your accounts and reporting a video, because people do that all the time. People for channels they hate. There are people who sit around making 5 or 10 new accounts every day to report every video for channels they hate. There are people with no lives who do that. That's known. People talk about it all over forums and everything. All right, that occasionally might get a video pulled, but I promise you that doesn't carry the weight to a police or law enforcement agency coming to YouTube and saying, hey, we just raided the warehouse of this guy right here. He is using his channel to distribute possible illicit substances and linking it in his videos. Something like that could have happened. I wouldn't count that out, especially considering that, to my knowledge, no one said, hey, it looked like several of his other videos got removed first, like multiple strikes. They don't usually ban you for one strike. It's usually multiple concurrent strikes of different videos violating rules, and sometimes they have to catch them at different times, meaning if someone reports you for copyright infringement and they get 5 of your videos removed at once, you usually, if they were all done by the same person in the same time period, you get 1 strike for that. They sometimes knock them all into one. They need to file separate reports and space them out. They want to get you shut down for that. So no one reported that. So I almost have to wonder if there wasn't some sort of maybe DEA or FDA intervention of them contacting YouTube and saying, hey, this is what's going on, this guy's doing this, his channel. Do what you want about it, but we're just warning you, if we end up busting this guy for something or we're checking his warehouses, the fact that you've allowed him to openly distribute these substances through your business, we might have to hold you accountable. And you know what? YouTube gets scared of stuff like that, and rightfully so. They don't want that sort of heat. They don't want to get slapped with $1 million fine because they allowed a 100,000 subscriber YouTube channel to stay up, and they're not going to make $1 million off him. You know, they only get about 1/3 of your income. They get about 1/3 of the money that you earn. So if something like that happened, that could have been what it was. If I had to speculate and a guess, because of how quickly it happened and went down shortly after that FDA thing, I would lean in the direction of maybe the FDA or some other federal agency having contacted YouTube and gave them a warning, and then they just looked at the videos and said, yeah, he seems to be promoting these substances, he's got links, we're just going to knock him out. And that very well might have been what happened. If I had to make a guess, because again, it sure happened really quick with no warning. And it just seemed to be conveniently close to the whole FDA thing. I'd lean in that direction personally. And you know what? I will freely admit that is just my theory. I could very well be wrong. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. And I will talk to you guys next time.